Welcome back to Get at Home with, me, Zhang-Schmidt, and it's time to look closer, learn more about a bit of Veilance, which is something I wanted to talk about again, but actually I was just preparing an update of my Deploy LT review. Or actually a real review, because I'd only quickly talked about it and it proved better to talk about things later. I really want to give reviews of things that I've tried out for at least a year, so that you can learn that they are really worth it, and not to give sort of previews. But, it just so happened that I went to the Arc'teryx outlet here nearby, which has not recently been getting too many interesting things, apart maybe for the camber pants. And actually the jacket recently. I guess I can make some more updates. And this time it was really fascinating, because apparently in 2020 there were plans from Arc'teryx Veilance to bring out a Nomin collection, a whole carry collection of the backpack in a revised version, a briefcase and a carryall. And then they did not come out in 2020, but the samples appeared in the outlet. So, you might think you recognize that backpack. It is the Nomin, except I would call this the No Nomin, because, they wanted to update it, they wanted to make it sleeker. If you know the Nomin, you will realize that here there is nothing but the one zip on the outside. So you just get one main compartment inside of it. It's just extremely sleek that way. Also, if you want to call it that, extremely cheap maybe. I'm sure they would call, Arc'teryx Veilance would call it streamlined. Some people might complain and say, what happened? There's so much less. The construction, as always, is very nice. Supposedly, this did not come out, this whole collection did not come out because they found some material defects, some difficulties in the manufacturing, something like that. They tried to make those things in the Philippines and then weren't happy or happy enough with them. From what I can see, it's still a very fancy construction. Still those hidden adjusters there. Though here, for example, the loops that should be here are missing. So, simplification there. Can open up tremendously widely. You see, there is a small zippered pocket in there with elastic. It's all seam taped very nicely. In the back you have a bit of a back plate, and then you have some room for some smaller stuff, a laptop, and maybe something else. There's an extra plate or extra divider in there. It should be sort of tight for a laptop, but fitted quite well and securely, which would be different from before. But there's not exactly a lot in there. The plan was for €600 retail, which would also be $600 retail, I guess. So a bit cheaper than before, if I'm not mistaken. But of course, it did not come out. Anyways, it is sleek as always. Kind of nice, actually. I think I might be keeping that one. Also because it's just such a special piece to, have something that wasn't coming out like that. What I was really fascinated is the briefcase. This is big enough. If you compare those two, the basic footprint is similar. It's just less deep, of course, as it should be. There is basically a shoulder strap. This does have loops sewn on. It's very simply made. Hook adjustments there, hook connectors. Again, those hidden away adjusters here. Of course, the same on the other side. Seems like a pretty comfortable strap for the shoulder. There is, yeah, only the top carrying handle here. A solid back plate, or what looks like it, and again one zip. Now, of course, we're going across. This is quite interesting. You have a small zippered pen pocket in what is the top of it. Another pocket, which is kinda sewn or glued in, also zippered, also in the front. And then two pockets separated in the very front, one in the back. Again, a bit of a plate there to give it some more space, and of course something to loop it in. So again, room for a laptop or a tablet, for some additional electronics. Still quite a bit of room inside of it all. And a curious construction actually, because the back plate extends to the sides where it's loose, where it's not attached. It's only attached in the back, goes to the front, and again in front it's not attached actually. So you could hide something underneath here maybe. And it all gives it some form, some shape. But yeah, just a bit, it's kinda like it's put in there as a sort of plate. Which is getting interesting with the Carryall actually. So again, looks like a waterproof zip. I'm quite fascinated. It's not exactly the smallest, but not much bigger than a MacBook 13, something like that. Here I can see that the sewing with the inner plate seems a bit strange, but maybe that's also partly just from this having been a bit older, so it got jostled around a bit. Not sure, but all in all, it looks pretty good to me, so yeah, don't know what happened, why they did not bring it out. Yeah, as I said, there is the Carryall. And now I'm really getting in trouble with the space. So, a handle on the side if you want to take it here, this way around. A handle on the long side, so you can carry it like some suitcase. A shoulder strap like on the Briefcase here. Again, just relatively simple hooks to hook the shoulder strap in or to take it off. If you take it off, the loops for it are not too noticeable, which might be really interesting because actually there is one of those loops also on this side at the top. So you could also hook that in. Come on. Not entirely easy, but it's not horribly difficult. Yeah, of course, when you want to say that, it doesn't work. One and two. So you could carry it with the shoulder strap also the long way around. This is a bit strange with the zip maybe, but anyways. And the zip goes across in front and towards the back. So again, it opens up widely. There's a sewn in zippered pocket there in that front piece. And now it gets really interesting because we have this inner reinforcement, which by the looks of it is not sewn in or glued in, just like this plate. Oops. Without it though, this would be, well, still a AC squared or something like that, a pretty tough ripstop nylon, something like that. But without this it would not have shape of its own. You can just look at the taping more closely if you have it like this. If that's your fancy. before, put it inside. And it all has a bit more shape. This, well, really a carryall. Quite a lot of room. I don't know what volume that is, but my 40-liter backpack feels like it's smaller. I think this should be about 50 liters. That's a pretty big bag, especially for something to wear as a sort of shoulder strap bag, or just to carry in your hand. But okay. The more I have it with me, the more I like it. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it or not sell it to somebody who really wants it. But yeah, again, how are we doing there? Were we supposed to do the briefcase 650 euros, so it would have been 50 euro more expensive than the backpack? Well, considering that there are more pockets inside, it's a more complicated construction, a little bit at least. That sounds appropriate. And the carryall, well, a bigger piece and was planned to be 750, so more again, but well, if you compare it here, yeah, it is plenty big. It's pretty interesting to look at that. It makes a very nice set. It's a very typical Veilance style. My wife said ugly. Very reduced, very unrecognizable as anything special, simply black clean lines, some interesting cut and taping and construction. Well, I guess the cut and the taping makes the construction. A pretty cool look for those who like it simple like that and really reduced. As usual, no logo, nothing where you could recognize what it is. You could recognize it best from how the cut is not exactly a usual one for a bag, and it's a plenty durable material. A lot to like. I wonder if it's going to return once they have figured out the manufacturing problems, if that's really what it was, or how that's going to continue. At the full price, it's going to be plenty expensive, but yeah, it's an interesting collection. And of course, we could go into discussions as usual of made in the Philippines, what do they want, blah, 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 but I don't actually think I care enough about those. What Arc'teryx wants with Veilance, that is perhaps a question and something we could discuss, but well, Veilance is a special, very niche thing anyways. My YouTube videos about that aren't exactly going to go viral because, well, that's not a Veilance thing. It's a black man, grey man thing to hide away and to be recognizable to those who you want to maybe recognize that, and mainly to just feel good with yourself for having something durable and very nice in a very, very hidden, reduced, taken back way, which is why I like those things, especially looking at how I've had some of them for 10 years? A long time anyways.